Welcome to the Finer Femininity Catholic Women's Podcast, a podcast for Catholic women with traditional values, women who are striving for sanctity, learning to be more joyful and feminine in their vocations by studying Our Lady, the saints, and revered Catholic men and women. And now your host, mother of 11, grandmother of 26, Leanne Vanderputten.
This excerpt today is from a wonderful little book called The Will to Win, A Call to American Boys and Girls by Father E. Boyd Barrett. Father Barrett was a Jesuit priest, and he wrote the booklet in 1917. It was written with the object of putting in a simple and brief form the substance of the author's larger book, Strength of Will. The author addresses himself directly to the Catholic boys of America, but he trusts Catholic girls will understand that, as they bear equal responsibility for the future of their faith and fatherland, the booklet is meant equally for them. And now, from The Will to Win. I have written this for you, and by you, I mean American Catholic boys and girls, in order to tell you what willpower means, and to show you how important and necessary it is, and how it may be acquired. I have tried to show you also that you cannot become good and strong men and women, that is, men and women of character, unless you have willpower, and further, that you will be of little or no use to your country if you are weak-willed. It has been well said that the only way to be a patriotic American is to do your best to become a perfect man. And a perfect man you will not be unless your will is strong. In these days you are familiar with the cry, "Your country needs you," and no doubt you have reflected on what the needs of your country are, and on what the future may have in store for her. The years hastening towards you, in which you will have to play your part, will be critical years in your country's history. Is America to fulfill her high destiny? Is she to become the great Christian, the great Catholic nation of the future? The home of true liberty, true progress, true civilization? Is she to avail herself of her splendid power and influence and spread the light of truth? Is she to win her way by justice and virtue till the nations gather around her? All that depends upon you. If you, Catholic boys and girls, prefer to be weaklings and pleasure seekers, if you put mammon before God, if you allow your love of truth and honor to die within you, then America has a black and shameful future before her. It is for you, then, to choose the America that you think is best, and to fashion yourselves in her likeness. If you wish to see America become a perfect country, a kingdom of God, do you yourself become a perfect individual, a kingdom of God. The perfect country can only be established by individual men and women who are striving after perfection. But you purpose, I know, to play your part well and bravely in the years to come. Then you must now set about preparing for your part. You must learn to live up to a high ideal. You must perfect your character and furnish your mind. You will perfect your character only if you strengthen your will, and you will furnish your mind only if you avail yourself of every opportunity of education. I said just now, you must learn to live up to a high ideal. But what exactly does that mean? What is an ideal in this sense? As you know, a sculptor does not set about carving his marble block without having a very clear and definite image in his mind of the figure he proposes to create. He means to reproduce in marble, as perfectly as he can, the image he has formed in his mind. He intends, so to speak, to translate his idea into marble. Now, a man with an ideal sets himself a task similar to that of the sculptor. He has an image in his mind of the kind of man he means to be, and he tries to conform his acts and conduct to that image, so that he may make himself like to it. he translates that image into his own life so that he comes to represent it as perfectly as possible. Now, we should all have ideals and try to conform our lives to them. But, of course, they should be noble ideals. They should be in harmony with thoroughly good principles. They should be clear and definite and practical. That is, common sense and quite realizable. A daydream in which you picture yourself merely as famous and illustrious is not an ideal. It is a foolish yearning after notoriety. In your ideal, picture yourself as a sincere and earnest Catholic, devoted to your country's welfare, kindly and chivalrous towards all, one who does not mind whose bundle he carries, providing he relieves some aching arm. Picture yourself as the kind of man you would be justly proud to be, the kind of man those who truly love you would like you to be. If, as may well happen, you are to be a carpenter, a shopkeeper, or a doctor, remember, you must set yourself to be a staunch Catholic and a true American in your career as carpenter, shopkeeper, or doctor. Aim at being a faithful member of the Parish Fidelity, of the Temperance Society, and of the St. Vincent de Paul or other charitable societies. Aim, too, at knowing the literature and history of America. Study well your country and your fellow countrymen, not critically nor captiously, but affectionately. Learn to love all that is best in them. God has lavished his gifts, his most splendid works of nature, on America. Your rivers, forests, hills, and plains surpass those of other countries. Be proud of America as of your mother. Study her social and economic problems, and play a manly part in the nation's fight for the amelioration of the poor. In your profession or business, be honest, painstaking, progressive, and energetic. Take advantage of the best and most scientific methods for developing your enterprises. In fine, let your ideal be practical as well as noble, definite as well as beautiful. You see now what is meant by an ideal in life. It is the concrete embodiment of high principles. It is an image which expresses for us what our conduct should be. Or, to put it more plainly, our ideal should be such that, were we to describe it to one who questioned us on our views of life and duty, such a one would clearly see that we held high principles. However, let us now recall to mind that it is one thing to have a high ideal, and quite another thing to live up to it. We often see quite plainly what we should do, what our ideal calls for from us, but alas, we neglect to act as we ought. It is not enough, then, to have an ideal. It is also necessary to have the power of conforming our lives to that ideal. That power is possessed by men and women of character, men whose lives are dominated by high principles, by ideals. This power of dominating our lives, which is the basis of character, is nothing else than strength of will. Without willpower, our ideals are vain and futile dreams. Without willpower, we cannot be true to our ideals. We cannot rule our conduct in conformity with them. We cannot become the men we purpose to be. The will alone, assisted and inspired by God's grace, enables us to direct the course of our lives, to shape our destiny, to fashion and mold our conduct according to principles we cherish, so that our lives may be bright lights to shine before fellow men. For a moment I suppose that you have fashioned for yourself your ideal, the clear and definite image of what you would be proud to be, of what faith and fatherland call for from you. But now, turn your eyes upon yourself as you are at the present moment. How does your character stand? Is your will strong? Have you self-control? Have you the power to make efforts, energetic efforts, at the call of duty? Can you persevere in making such efforts? Are you master of yourself? Can you control your impulses and inclinations? Do you yield easily to the attractions of pleasure? Have you habits of which you are ashamed, which you know are wrong? Are you weak and cowardly at times and afraid of what others might say? Do you shrink from a little physical pain? Ask yourself these questions frankly, and you will know the answer to the question, is your will strong? And if you feel forced to confess that your will is weak, how are you going to live up to your ideal? How are you going to dominate your life and conduct and make yourself a living representation of your ideal? Is it not necessary for you to acquire more willpower so as to face the long and trying struggle of life that lies before you? Yes, you need more strength of will than you possess at present. You need to perfect your will and to make it a powerful instrument. You need to learn how to use your will aright, how to keep it in good trim and in a high state of efficiency. It is your best and greatest possession, the most wonderful thing you have. It is worth knowing well, using well, and perfecting. It is worth studying and training. It will repay you better than you will be repaid by training your mind or training your memory or training your hand to paint or to carve or to strike music from a keyboard. And so, to sum up what I have hitherto said, Christ your King needs you to be a staunch Catholic. America, your country, needs you to be a true patriot. You cannot obey these calls unless you perfect and develop your will. Without a strong will, you lack that bold and confident manliness which inspires men to answer, as I have known a young Irish soldier to answer, such questions as these. Are you Irish? Yes, thank God. Are you a Catholic? Rather. Strength of will, like a faithful friend, will come to your help in every difficulty. It will be with you through life's long battle until the end. And when the end comes, you will be able to say truly, in every sense, gladly I lived and gladly I died, and I lay me down with a will.
Thank you for joining us today. Please stop by the Finer Femininity website to enjoy articles on the single life, the married life, raising children, and the spiritual life, all written by solid Catholic authors. You can follow Finer Femininity on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. God bless you, and see you next episode.